Hi everyone, it's Justin here, Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for joining us. Whether you're watching, whether you're listening, whether you're here in the United States or you are abroad, we are grateful to have you with us. If you can do us a quick favor, give us a thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, repost, reshare, even maybe pull out your phone and uh, share the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast with 25 or 50 or 100 of your contacts. That would greatly help us. It's free to do, and it helps us get closer and closer to our ultimate goal of reaching and helping at least 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. And that's all because of you. You're the reason we have this show. You're the reason we continue. You're the reason why we have over, at this point, 525 episodes, at least. Um, and we're, you know, any type of show needs an audience, and if there's no audience, then there's no reason to have the show. But you have given us that love and support back at us, and we're sending that same love and support your way as well. Um, you know, talk about a few different topics today. Mentally, it's of course you know who I'm looking at. Look at Lucy. She knows that there's a show going on, as we've mentioned a lot. Um, Mentally going through uh what anybody would deem a very stressful, um, high anxiety, high stress at this time. Yeah, you'll see her. There you go. There you are, Lucy. You're on TV. Yeah. Her nails have gotten super long. So even when she's not trying to scratch. At least that's what I believe. I believe that she's not trying to scratch me or anybody. Uh yeah, so in this season of kind of mental uh I guess mental turbulence, if that's a word, or two words, I guess. Maybe they're hyphenated. But this mental turbulence, I think, comes and goes for all of us. Just it's maybe easier for some of us and maybe a little bit harder for some of us. Um, and luckily, I do have my mental health team, and uh, that that's really a big deal. That and then coping mechanisms. Those are kind of what's keeping me afloat right now, uh, because there's some things going on, family wise, and it's hard to think about and hard to see. It's one thing to hear, right? Like we hear a story of how a particular person or whoever uh, is behaving, and if that's out of the ordinary for them. Like I said, it's one thing to hear about it. It's another thing to see it. Uh, and it's just crushing. And this is probably one of the biggest Not not the biggest, or it's a pretty big inflection point where there's there's somebody like me, and again, I'm not perfect at all. We all know that. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I don't try to say I'm perfect. I just share my experiences. So I'd be in a hard place if, again, if I didn't have, my psychiatrist, my therapist, medication, previous therapy, coping mechanisms, grounding, and all those things you can look up. You can use Chat GPT or whoever you use to find out like what exactly I'm talking about there. Uh, a- and so I'm getting help, and I have been getting help for a long time. There were a lot of years before that again that I wasn't, and I needed it. This time, it's not it's not me, it's another another part of the family. Uh, someone that really, really just needs evaluated and needs some help. We've rallied around this person, friends. I mean, friends, people who grew up with all over the United States. They're all calling, all texting, trying to help move this forward to get the help. And this individual at the current time doesn't want it, and it's hard. It's hard to see, hard to hear. And so life throws us so many curveballs, so many obstacles, so many different hurdles that we have to find a way to get over the hurdle, get through an obstacle, around an obstacle, whatever that may be. I mean, I think of, these shows where they're like very athletic shows. I'm not going to say the name because then it's going to give them credit, but where they're jumping and then they're hanging, then they're spinning around, and so there's just so many obstacles they gotta get through, and then if they fall, then they fall into like, just water. Maybe use food coloring to make it a certain color. There might be foam or different things. But that's kind of how life is, where we think we have things figured out a little bit, and then it's kind of at those times where, for me as a believer, that God's like, all right, you think you got it all figured out? How about this? And it's hard. It's hard for everybody. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what people close to you are going through. Um, the best advice I can give is just to be there, just to support. And again, people hear support. Some people think it's all about money. Like, well, I have been supporting this person. I have been supporting you. Okay, like we're not talking about money here. We're talking about a life. We're trying to help save, a family, help save. May or may not be. kids involved trying to save their childhood, what's left of it. So it's really tough. And so the appointments I have, like with my psychiatrist and therapist, I'm sure I've mentioned this before. The appointments seem to always be right after something tough has occurred, a curveball, an obstacle. And that's where I think, as I'm talking, speaking, trying to the best that I can, think, what if I didn't have a psychiatrist and therapist to talk to? What if I didn't have the medication, the kind of checkups? I'd be in a not in a great place. And so these appointments, I mean, it's got to be, divine intervention where God's like, all right, Justin, you're gonna have your appointment scheduled, and then there's gonna be something that's going to happen where it's very close to those appointment dates. And so luckily for me, I was able to, I had those appointments the day after this uh, difficult time going through. To the individuals out there going through it, sometimes you know you're going through a tough time. Sometimes you don't. I know for me, when I first started medication and that, there's always, I'll say always, at least the medications I've been on, there's usually a it's not a honeymoon phase because it's not a honeymoon by any stretch. But there's a stretch of time at the beginning, might be a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, that it takes for the medication to start fully working, right? So it's starting to work from day one. But I know for a fact, for me, it's those times that are very difficult, especially at the beginning. For me, it's one thing because I'm already taking medication. So if there's an adjustment up or down, it doesn't, I don't get the drastic swings of the medication, whether it's going up in the dose or down in the dose, like milligrams, like maybe 25, now it's at 30, maybe it was 25, now it's at 20, maybe working away one way or another. And that can play a big role for a period of time for somebody who's never been on medication like this because it's affecting the brain and it's starting to kind of hopefully help to rewire as much as possible the brain to be able to function at a somewhat normal as normal can be, a normal way. And so if you're going through that, if you just for the first time going through, having, I mean, there's medication anxiety. Oh my gosh, how's it gonna make me feel? And it been there, done that. I know what it's like. Doesn't mean I know what it's like for every single person because I don't. And that's why I say for loved ones and that if somebody has just started or they're in that less than a month phase of starting a medication, that it very well could be causing, more, uh, I don't want to say more problems. It's just causing the brain to like boot up, in certain areas or boot down if it's, trying to, regulate whatever the reason that and whatever the things that a medication does. Again, I didn't want to be on medication, and now I'm like, all right, because I had thought I was like, well, if I start something like this, we're gonna be affecting the brain, and yeah, I mean, it'd be great if I didn't have to take any medication and I could feel somewhat close to where I'm at, but that just for me, I don't know that that's gonna happen. I saw one of the big things for me was alcohol, binge drinking on weekends and all that. I just saw how was it, TikTok or it was a social media post by Holly Strano. She's a meteorologist here, kind of in the area, and I don't know how long it's been, but there was something alcohol related. I don't know if she got like a DUI or something, and then the news station basically moved her off the news station, and so now from what I've seen, she's trying to empower people too, like I am. And the one thing said, because it was like a picture or video of her walking or something, and then there were a couple different quotes, and but I think now that I think about it, it might have been something she may have been speaking to, but it was about not having another drink of alcohol, not wanting to. She doesn't feel the need. Uh, and that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I go to places, I don't say like all the time. I mean, if you go to a restaurant, even just in a house, there may be things and there may be bottles of alcohol in a home. And so we have to make a conscious effort So just keep walking by. Let it go. Let that part go. I mean, we know alcohol is a poison. Still didn't stop me for many years. But Holly was basically sharing that in this video about not wanting to have a drink. But that's her and that's me and others. I'm not here to say you got to be as clean as a whistle and, just don't do this, do that. All again, it comes back to I'm sharing my experiences with the world, wherever you may be, whether you're traveling, whether you're at home, no matter where you're at. We're all human beings. We all go through some tough stuff, and it's okay to ask for help. That's another stigma here in society is asking for help is, or asking for help makes a person less of a person. I don't know if I said that right. Because then the person's like, oh, I'm not living up to whatever standard where I was at. But don't let that stop you from getting some help. I didn't know what help looked like. Going on 9 years in 4 months. In 4 months, it'll be 9 years. Just about to the day of when this is filmed. It's it just had me as going back memory lane. But yeah, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't. A lot of what I expected was wrong. What I thought it was gonna be was wrong. I mean, the roughest night was probably the first. Well, all the nights were pretty rough. I just remember the one night, I think it might have been the first night, where I was just so cold and I was just walking up and down the halls because I couldn't sleep. I hadn't been and sleeping well. Maybe I got an hour or two, I don't know. But I hadn't been sleeping well. And and so that was something that was new. But don't take it from me. You gotta find out what works for you. Or if you're part of a care team or part of a friend group or family that has somebody in it that needs some help, that's all you can do is try to do the best you can. I'm sure somebody's written a book somewhere about it, but there's not really a one size fits all. Just like about babies when they're born and There's different milestones. Doesn't mean that my child or your child is going to fit within, these ranges. They're like, oh my gosh, my baby should be doing this. My infant should be doing this. And they're not. There's no manual, no manual on that. You just do the best you can. Just like everything in life. Just do the best you can. If you need help, big deal. Get some help. I was so worried about people judging me. Still am, but I think the so is not there now. Like, oh, I know people are judging me. People are judging everybody all the time. Just the way it is. And that's just where you got to do things for you, your loved ones. They got to do things for them. That's what they got to do. Because what I'm saying is for me. Every day is not like this. Where, we do the shows. Every day is not like this, where I'm able to articulate a little bit at least. In life, we want to help people. I think the United States is one of the, correct me if I'm wrong, the United States is one of the most giving countries in the world, like to different charities and donating and that. It's the same thing. A person's life, you can't replace that. You can't replace a person's life. You can replace the things like a couch or clothes or a pair of shoes or I don't know, you name it. We can we can get new ones. But with individuals like us and others all across the world, nearly 8 billion of us living human beings on Earth. Man, we need help. I don't know, maybe we should call it something else. Maybe, help might be the stigma, the actual word help. Like, let's go to the hospital and get you some help. Sounds much different than, hey, let's go talk to a friend or I don't know. You're probably much better at wordsmithing than I am. But you see what I'm saying? When we say help, it automatically, I think, puts up like this barrier where it's like, no way. I don't need help. I don't want help. So if we were able to find a way to help without saying the word help, Maybe that would help a little bit. And I said help a little bit. Maybe maybe that would make things a little more smooth. Yeah, and lastly, we're all not guaranteed another breath in life. There's no guarantees. Just just lost another extended family member passed away. The age doesn't matter. It's hard. It's like I'm like even like I'm not gonna have an opportunity to see my dad again on Earth. I hope to see him in heaven. So that's why when we talk about giving a person options that to make them feel a little bit better. 'Cause there's a lot of bad things that happen in the world. The last thing we want to do is to come home to a situation that we hear about on the news. Well, that happens somewhere else. That doesn't happen where I live. No, things happen everywhere. It's not it's not great, but bad things happen. Doesn't matter the zip code, the demographic, you name it. So let's just extend the hand. Let's be there for our fellow humans. And thank you for joining us on this episode of the show. Give us big thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, reshare, repost, get into your phone, and please share the Voices for Voices podcast and TV show with maybe 25 or 50 contacts in your phone. You can find us everywhere, wherever you get your podcasts, wherever your contacts get their podcasts, they can find the Voices for Voices podcast. Thank you very much. We will see you very, very soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye for now.